course, that happens a lot because I live close to the Exxon. But anyway, okay. Well, we're going to get started. Again, I want to respect your lunchtime, and thank you for dialing in. So we work on, again, how do our certifications help your career? What do we have? And we call them kind of education corners with our master instructors, of which Chuck is one of our masters. I'm a recognized instructor for ASCM. But anyway, wanted to give you some background on all that. So thank you for being here. It is recorded. At the very end, you're going to get a survey. Two things to make you do that survey. You'll get a coupon for $150 off of CSCP, CLTD, or CPIM. That also works with the early bird. And you'll get a link to this once I get it uploaded onto YouTube. So hold on. Whoops. I'm sorry. I'm the admin and trying to present. So apologies. Anyway, so fill out the survey. You get benefits from it, right? Just like everyone else. We're going to reward you for letting us know how we did. Because it's important. Chuck and I know continuous improvement, right? It's one of the things that we really strive for. Okay. So welcome. We just did that. We'll do our introductions. We'll talk about why you want to get a certification now, what employers are looking for, which learning path is for you, and some options that we've got, and the next steps. So again, we plan to be done in 30 minutes or less. Really quick though, do this in the chat. We try to do polls. I'm not very good at them. Could you type in the chat why you are interested, even though we did kind of ask people before. So you guys can, the chat is at the bottom. Looks like a chat. It looks like WhatsApp chat. Anyway, so while we're doing that, we're going to go on and we'll do our introductions. So again, I am the president of the Houston chapter of ASCM. I'm involved in both our local and national level. Our mission is to empower our supply chain leaders through education, professional development, innovation, and community impact. We actually cover from Freeport all the way into New Orleans. So we have a huge, that's why it says Houston and beyond. I spend a lot of time in Louisiana myself for work reasons, so it's great we get to catch up with people there. So again, I'm the president and a recognized instructor. I'll have Chuck introduce himself real quick.
Okay, yeah, my name is Chuck Connelly. So the picture there is me a little bit younger, or a bit younger actually. But just really quick background is I've worked in multiple industries, and if you see the slide, it says forecasting, procurement, warehouse, sourcing, all these activities. I've had responsibilities over them, and I've done most of them. My last role was I was Senior Director of Supply Chain for National Barco's Downhole Division, which was our largest division at the time. I retired a couple of years ago, decided I had enough fun of full-time work and having employees in China and Dubai and everywhere else. So it was always seemed to be working in the morning or late at night. So anyways, that's my background. I've been an instructor for over 25 years, I think it is, somewhere in there. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. And I've also served on the board in a variety of roles with Steve Hassan, who joined our call today.
Yep. And that's actually why I actually created this to share this, because Chuck, I realized you and I've had every one of those roles. Either we were directly responsible or we were leading teams that were responsible. And both of us have a big background in the energy industry. So when I made this for one of my slides, and I was like, oh my God, that's Chuck too. So anyway, again, like you said, we both have had decades in supply chain, and we love our field. So that is us. And then why certification? So Chuck, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I do. Let me drop back to the next slide. I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to throw you a curveball here 1 second here.
You bet.
All right. So realistically, let's just get into the heart of the matter is, from an employee standpoint, your WIFM is your WIFM meetings, what's in it for you is that having certifications, particularly if you go the certification route, helps you get seen on resumes. And in Houston, CPIM, particularly CSCP also, are APIC certifications are very well recognized. If you will go in the oil service industries, we have taught and had employees in almost every of the major, and I'll say every major oil and gas company. And that includes the biggest ones like Shell, a vertical integrated company, National Varco, where I came from. Steve's worked in a couple companies. He just mentioned Worth. So it is highly recognized. Now, what I like to highlight at the end of the day, what are employers working for? When I was, I've been executive of several different companies. And at the end of the day, I always like to say I've been fortunate to work for people, presidents, CEOs who value APICS, but at the end of the day, their goal is not how many people do I get certified. Their goal is this triangle. And their goal is to increase their revenue, reduce their asset base or their inventory, reduce costs so they make profit, with the overall objective of either getting promoted or, more importantly, getting their bonuses. And so they see the certifications for them is the opportunity to improve their business. And we've had a lot of success that way because what is the courses involved? Best practices. Best practices, CPIM, best practices in planning and inventory management, CSCP, best practices in supply chain. And so you get a very good understanding of these topics and how to improve them. And so that enables you to really drive the benefit to your company or employers is because now you're making improvements in the business that affect the company in this way. In other words, can we reduce lead time for our customers? Can we provide better on time? So these are just kind of at the end of the day, your employers are looking for results, and CPIM candidates can provide results. On an individual level, and I started my certification at the same time back in the 90s, is I can't think of anything more fun at work than making changes. Since basically since the early 90s, I've never had a job that I didn't define. I defined what was done. Nobody else did. They just told me what the hill was. And with that said, is I enjoyed work because I could drive change. And how can I drive change if I don't know? So I use the certification as my baseline, my foundation to know what to change and how to change it and how to communicate those changes. So you get the inventory reduction, for example. How do you plan to have the right inventory in the right place at the right time? We talk about that. We talk about systems and processes that do that. So I just kind of want to highlight that and hear a variety of different things as part of being a leader, just redefining your network. We'll cover this stuff big time in CSCP, which is coming up, all these topics. And you develop skills in these different operational type areas. So again, summing it up, what are employers looking for? They're looking for improvements in the business. And as you make improvements, you will get raises and promotions and become more valuable, if not within your company. As I always tell people, if they're not treating you right, learn all you can and take your skills down the road and let somebody else benefit from it. So going back a slide now, kind of coming back, is that APICS has put out these surveys and ascertained that these are the types of value that certification provides. You won't automatically get a 25% increase if you get a certification. I can promise you that. I shouldn't promise that because maybe somebody will do it, but it comes from making improvements in the business or having employers who recognize the value of your certification. So anyways, these are the benefits, but to make changes, it's not enough to know how things are. We also need to understand how things are changing. And fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we've got a president that's driving a tremendous amount of supply chain trade, particularly with his tariffs. And I'll be honest, I'm not a tariff guy. I don't believe in the tariffs. But anyways, if I work in an employer, I got to know how to deal with that. And some of the knowledge I got is when Trump first put the first tariffs in 2017, I bought millions of dollars of steel ahead of his tariffs, which saved us a ton of money. Because you're paying attention to these, and this is going to help you start to look at these things and think about them more. So you drive the change. Needless to say, my bosses were all happy about that. So just hopefully I've given you some thoughts. Is there any questions on what employers are working for and why I think certification is valuable?
Hey, Chuck.
Yes.
Something you just mentioned about driving change. I'm so glad I joined the call today because yesterday I had a job interview, and one of the questions I was asked is, what are you looking for in your next role? And I wanted to find a way to articulate what you just said about driving change. Now that I have, I've been in the supply chain industry for 10 years. I wanted to say that I feel like I have the skills necessary to drive change, but I just couldn't articulate it the way you just did. So this has helped me a lot. So thank you.
You're welcome. Let me give you just one other thought related to this, is that if whatever industry or company in, if you can think of a couple of the headline major shifts in their industry that could affect them, and then from there you can highlight how you drive change to help the company get there. Now, one of the big ones that everybody can talk about right now is AI. And just saying, well, AI is going to improve things and stuff does not really sound very intelligent. But if you can better articulate how you can use AI. One person did a great job. English was not his first language, and he articulated how he used AI because he would put his memos, he'd start drafting up an email or memo, and he would use AI to properly create the proper grammar. So now all of a sudden, his memos and things come out. He also had to do an employee improvement survey. They asked him to do that. He went back and forth through an AI chatbot, ChatGPT to be specific, and he came up with a process to drive employee improvement. So you imagine you're the boss and you're going, wow, this guy's doing this. And you understand maybe your boss English isn't his first language, but you see he's able to get over that gulf. It's not a barrier for him. And actually, you can make an argument it's an asset because he can speak 2 languages, not 1. So the last piece I'll add into the certification piece, I got a lot of certifications. This didn't even list all the ones I have. But why did I do that? Certification was basically structured learning for me. I said, I'll just go watch some YouTube videos and learn something. We had a curriculum. And it also created discipline because it's easy to go, well, maybe I'll look at Facebook instead of something on AI. So that's another piece I think that comes in from our classes. It gives you a true structured learning environment, not, hey, I'll just kind of read a little of this and I'll do a little of that and maybe I know something. So anyways, I hope that helps. Other questions before I turn it over?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck, and agree. I came from a company that actually I was told you're going to get this one or this one. And I looked at them. I was in the middle of my master's. I just started. I did not think I had time. But that's why I love the certification. Again, I have a master's in supply chain. My first certification was CSCP. And I was like, oh my God, for the first time, we're not siloed in our learning. And as someone who now teaches, I will tell you, the body of knowledge in APICS is in every textbook I have, all the time. Always, it'll even say APICS, whether it's SCORE or CSCP or master scheduling, though that vocabulary is in there. So you can speak vocabulary. Anyway, so really quick, this is a basic, if you're in supply chain at all, plan, source, make, deliver, return. Whoops, sorry, I should not have used that. Anyway, these are how they fit in. And I always say, if you want to know what's right for you, where are you and where do you want to go? So are you, I have friends and friends at work who manufacturing, they love manufacturing. They don't ever want to step into another part. I have another friend who's definitely warehousing and shipping. Those are really great careers for CPIM and CLTD, wherever you are. So again, Chuck and I've said, I've been an analyst. I've been a manager over 12 sites for manufacturing. And it doesn't matter, where are you? Do you feel like you have everything you need? And then where do you want to go? So if you want to really focus on something, you can. Then you've got CSCP, which is a supply chain professional, which is end to end. It's a little outside your four walls in the as in it's going to bring in your suppliers and your customers. It's going to make you think through that whole chain, which is why it's my favorite class. Chuck knows that. And then we've got CTSC. That's the transformation. That's actually going to go into conversations about governments and way beyond your suppliers. So, and then there's a couple roles. So you notice we've got, if you want to be a master planner, master scheduler, maybe you want to, have a hub of sites. I have a friend who does 3 sites up in the New Jersey area. CPIM was right for him. He loved it. Doesn't want to do anything else. Anyway, these are a couple of the roles that you can look at. And so we'll ask you in a little bit like what you're thinking of. So these are certifications. And then we're going to talk about in certifications. We do have something called certificates. Chuck's going to talk about them in a little bit. But very quickly, we'll send this if you want, so you don't have to do much more. Wanted to show you that you can do self-study. Our chapter actually will give you a 15% discount if you get through us. But Chuck and I were just talking about this. It's not that much more to go to an instructor-led course. And I've got over here, so these are the things you're going to get with an instructor. You're going to get Chuck if you're in CSCP or CPIM, just like he talked about, expert guidance, structure, peer learning. How many of you have been in a class you didn't really like, but the people in your course, and I'm not talking ASCM, but in education, I had people in my finance class, in my master's, that's why I survived. It definitely wasn't my instructor. But you're going to get that learning and discussion. And the thing is, when they share their stories, makes it more relevant and applicable to you. Those are important. Of course, that's engaging. You've got higher retention and pass rates. We give you a free second chance. If you're not a member, we'll give you a membership for a year. And then you will get that with them. Networking, career support, and small intimate classes. We do not set up our online classes more than 10 students. That's actually better than as an instructor, I will tell you, they say not to have over 15. We really want you guys to be able to have conversations and maybe even lifelong friends. We're good with that. And Chuck is very involved in his students. We don't have more than 10 students. So you can do self-study. If you're, I've done it. It's horrible for me. It's just not my thing. I had to do it once. You're going to get the same resources, online learnings, tests, videos, all those things. You can access it anytime. You're going to get that in instructor-led. And again, it's not much more. One of the things we talked about is self-study looks cheap. Till you look at, if you're not a member, it's another $500-$600. Oh, and they don't tell you you're going to pay for taxes and shipping. Our price is an all-in price. So for a little bit more, you can invest in yourself and actually have master instructors. Which all of our instructors are, the full-time instructors. So that's kind of on certificates, why we think it's better. And again, I've done, CPIM used to be more than one test. So I've done one of the CPIMs and CTSC self-study. I literally had to make myself do it. It was too hard. The instructor ones, I just knew I needed to do stuff. So I kept up with my reading. And I took my test within 30 days, maybe 40 days, and passed first every time. Okay, so that's what certificates look like in our chapter. And then Chuck's going to talk about certificate programs. We're going to pilot one in, I think, October. So if you're like, I'm not really sure, I just want to get a little better and dip my toe in, Chuck's going to talk to you about those certificates.
So this is a new offering from Apex that we're rolling out, and let's separate certification versus certificate. Certification is really about having achieved a recognized bar. You crossed over a recognized bar. I'm a CPA, for example. So I had to pass 5 exams to prove that I knew enough accounting and some other things, business law, things like that, to be a CPA. Well, the CPIM and CSCP and CLTD are similar in that it is a bar that you cross. So when you take the exam, you're really earning a certification. Now, certificate program is more of a recognition of a continuing education type program, which says, yes, you did a certain amount of things to achieve a certificate, but it's not the same level of certification. So I don't want any confusion there. Certification is a much, much bigger deal. But there is benefits in certificates for the same reasons we talked about before. And that is, one, you learn best practices. Number 2 is you develop some additional skills to help your employer improve. Number 3, you get recognition of a certificate that you can put on your resume. And so this is kind of a different offering, but it does address the need for people. So as you just kind of see about a certificate program, we have the tactics, the details over here, over in the ones we're offering eventually, is again, online profile like the LinkedIn. It's basically 20 hours of education. The classes will be about 10 hours. So you're going to be like certification, you're going to have to do some of your own reading and practice. If you already have a certification, you can use this for certification maintenance. One of the requirements of certification, unlike a certificate program, is you have to continually renew yourself, which used to be fun because I used to have to renew myself for ISM, I had to renew myself for APIX, I had to renew myself for AICPA, this CPA organization. Anyways, exams are included in the cost and you can retake the exam. So it's almost like an open book exam. It's really not meant to say, here's the bar that you proved you jump, but they're just trying to say is, look, you have done study and you're studying about more than just showing up. What we're looking at is our first class in supply chain planning. There'll be 10 hours online, Monday, Thursday. We're going to try it as a lunch. So that, we know a lot of people have to rush to and from work. So we said, let's try a lunch online course, and it'll be basically about 5.5 weeks. And I'm going to teach the first one. That's this first one here on supply chain planning, but we're going to be offering procurement, supplier relationship management, warehousing, and we may look at some of these other ones, but we're going to probably start off with these top ones over the next 6 months or whatever. We haven't laid out our schedule beyond this one yet. So turning it back, any questions on certification or certificates?
No, I think I'm good.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Okay. So then next steps, and the poll is not working, so you will get this in the survey. So if there's something that you're interested, again, we're working on a schedule. We plan on having it out, the spring schedule, by October 31st. So we're planning out certificates because they're new, and we need at least 4 people in a class. It's a lot of rules with HQ, but anyway, too much information. So we're going to ask you that there, unless if you want to chat, if you want to drop it in the chat, we'll do that. And then just a couple things. So again, if you look, we've got CPIM and CSCP starting in a couple of weeks. Chuck, you can see who the instructor is on those. They're all, again, master instructors. So Chuck will be teaching the one that's starting in maybe 2 weeks from today, I think.
Yeah.
So you still have time. You can still get the early bird. And again, if you fill out the survey, you can get another 150 off. So you can get that. That's how it works. So I think someone asked about that. You'll meet twice a week, not on holidays. We always take them off, but you'll meet twice a week, whichever class you pick. And we'll, sorry, my brain shut down for a minute. Meeting twice a week. And then it's 3 hours, 6 to 9. So you have time to get home. in a structured, so he'll share all that information. Those are the two big ones that are coming up. Chuck, before we go off that, do you have anything else?
Just real quick, we say APICS and we say ASCM. Are you guys comfortable that they're basically synonymous? Okay.
Yes.
Us old timers
Yeah,
always
no,
call it
but-
APICS, but yeah.
Yeah, it's still the certification, and the certifications are still called APICS. I just had to renew mine. Okay, and then so those are the two. We've got two of each coming up. Again, 40 hours for CSCP. CPIM, again, it was 5 tests at one point. They've got it in one, which is nice because it's only one test. But then we've got quite a few hours. So that one's what, about 8 weeks, I think. Chuck will be teaching the second one because we can't have him teach all of them. Can't wear him out. And then we have a CLTD coming up. That one's going to start in September. Michael Cole, who actually wrote the information. Again, most of our instructors have written the information that you learn, the curriculum. He and Ken Jameson, who's kind of instructor in training, are going to dual tag that one. And then Chuck's planning certificate will start in October. So that's the ones we have. And then really quick, for those who wanted to know, you'll register for your classes. This is the how-to. If you're a member, make sure you log in first because you will get a discount. Non-member, you can just register as a guest. This is where all our classes are listed. The exam you can take from home or at testing centers, any Pearson VUE. There's a local community college near you or a Houston Safety Council. They have one. There are literally 5 of them within within about 7 miles from my house, and I've used both of them. It's the same, or 2 of them. Anyway, so you could take it either way. I will tell you from what I learned, arrive about 15 minutes early because it's 8 o'clock and there's gonna be other people, and it just stresses you out, you know, thinking you have to get in the door by 8, which you don't. You have about 3.5 hours to take it. It's 150 multiple choice questions. If you need to, you know, go to the restroom, or once I was sick and I had to take a cough drop, you're allowed to step out. They'll show you the process. You don't have to bring anything. There's an on-screen calculator. There's either a pen and paper or whiteboard and pen, and you can skip and flag. You can go back, whatever you want to do. And then at the end, if you missed any, it will actually prompt you to say, oh, you missed these, or you still have these flags. So that way it's pretty easy to take them. Someone told me they took about 3 hours. I've never taken that long. So anything else, Chuck, on the exam and registering?
Yeah. What she's covered there is the certification exam.
Yes.
The planning exam, the certificate exam is part of the package. It's like 75 questions, and you definitely take that home or work, wherever you don't go into a testing center for that. So where I'm sitting right now is where I did my planning certificate. I just sat here and cranked it out. So it's a bit, again, certification and certificates are different animals.
But if you've held any professional certification, PMP, or
Yeah.
you even cosmetology or nursing, they don't, you know, it's very structured. Even my DDMRP test I was able to take it home. It's a whole big thing, which is why I don't ever want to do that again. For me, it's better to go in, but it's your choice, whatever works for you. But we didn't want to tell you that so you know how to work on that. And then I'm going to drop this in the chat, or I'll send it to you in the survey. And then I think, whoops, hey, we did it. We're only 2 minutes over. Does anyone have any questions on top of what we covered? Okay, well, thank you for coming and joining our first Education Corner. And again, we'll send out our information. So if there's anything you need, please reach out to either of us, whether it's about the chapter or our classes. Again, Chuck's done both. I've done both. So we'll be glad to help.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your help and instructions.
Very welcome. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. We'll be on for a couple of minutes in case you think of something later.
Nice job, guys, and good to see you both.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I was surprised, Steve.
Are you
I
going to
was
make our
expecting-
Port of Houston event?
Yeah, I'm already signed up.
Awesome. Yeah, I am